Here's something that rarely happens on television. A show starts strong. Critics love it. You love it. You tell your friends about it. And then season 2 comes out, and the thing that made it special is just gone. The writers ran out of ideas. The budget got cut. They added a character nobody asked for. The lead got too famous and now has a different energy. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's happened to almost every show you've ever loved. Like almost. Today we're talking about 7 Apple TV originals that have never once done that to you. No dip, no coasting, no, okay, it gets better after episode 3. Every season, every time, they show up. 7 shows, all of them still running. All of them consistent in a way that should frankly be illegal. Let's get into it.
Number 7. Trying. Most shows about wanting a baby pick a lane, either devastatingly sad or warm enough to give you a toothache. Trying picked neither.
Do you want to have sex?
Look, I've just had a big dinner and it's 1 a.m.
Do you still enjoy having sex with me?
Absolutely, yes.
As much as you used to?
It follows Nikki and Jason, a London couple in their 30s, played by Esther Smith and Rafe Spall, who can't conceive and decide to navigate the baffling, bureaucratic, emotionally exhausting world of adoption. And what creator Andy Wolton understands, probably because he's an adoptee himself, is that this story isn't really about a baby. It's about 2 imperfect people choosing to grow up in real time, together, messily, with a lot of bad decisions and a lot of very funny conversations on the bus. The comedy is gentle without being toothless. The emotion lands without being manipulative. And the show has somehow gotten better as it's gone. Season 4 makes a genuinely bold move, jumping 6 years forward to show Nikki and Jason as actual parents. And it earns it completely. Seasons 2 and 4 both scored 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. For a comedy, that rarely happens. If you need something that makes you feel good about people without lying to you about what people are like, this is the one. Number 6. Foundation.
When I was a child at the edge of the galaxy, I heard stories about a man who could forecast the future.
For decades, people called Isaac Asimov's Foundation novels unfilmable. And they had a point. It's a millennium-spanning story about the mathematics of civilizational collapse, told across generations of characters who never meet in worlds that don't exist yet. There's no single hero, no tidy 3-act structure, just a man who predicts the fall of an empire and builds something to survive it. Apple threw roughly $10 million per episode at it and handed it to David S. Goyer. Season 1 was dense. It demanded patience. There were moments where you had to trust that the architecture being laid down was going somewhere worth going. It was. Season 2 critics called an enormous leap forward. Season 3 arrived with universal acclaim, and something nobody expected from a show this cerebral: genuine wit. Lee Pace's brother Day became so unexpectedly loose that fans started calling him Brother Dude. And somehow that landed perfectly alongside the grandeur. 3 seasons in, Foundation is the rare adaptation that keeps finding new ways to surprise you with material that's been sitting on shelves since 1951. If you have the patience for scope, like real scope, this is what Apple built their platform for. Number 5. Shrinking.
I have to ask, is this you forever?
I don't know.
On paper, Shrinking sounds like comfort television. A grieving therapist starts ignoring his professional ethics and tells his patients what he actually thinks. Sun-soaked California, feelings being processed, an ensemble of likable people. Fine. Sure. That sounds fine. Except it was co-created by Jason Segel, Brett Goldstein, and Bill Lawrence. Between them, responsible for Ted Lasso, Scrubs, and How I Met Your Mother. And they were never going to let it just be fine. Jimmy Laird, played by Segel, is not chaotic in an adorable way. He is a genuine wreck. A man who lost his wife and responded by going partially absent from his own life. And the show looks at that with real honesty, even while being very, very funny. And then there's Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, at 80-something, playing a veteran therapist with Parkinson's disease. and doing it with more warmth and more comic timing than most actors half his age. The dynamic between him and Siegel is one of the best things Apple TV has produced. Season 3 arrived in January 2026 and brought Jeff Daniels in as Jimmy's father, which is exactly the kind of swing a confident show makes when it knows exactly who it is. All 3 seasons balance funny and devastating with a precision that looks easy and absolutely isn't. Number 4. Silo. There's a specific kind of science fiction that isn't really about the future at all. It's about the present wearing a costume.
We do not know why we are here. We do not know who built the silo and why we are underground.
Silo drops you into an underground civilization. 10,000 people living inside a giant silo, governed by rules nobody fully understands, punished for asking questions nobody is supposed to ask. Rebecca Ferguson plays Juliet Nichols, an engineer who starts pulling at threads that were very deliberately not meant to be pulled. Season 1 is effortlessly watchable in a way that's harder to achieve than it looks. It's focused. It always moves forward. It builds a world with enough texture that you stop noticing the walls closing in. And then it ends on a cliffhanger that makes you feel genuinely betrayed, in the good way. Season 2 is where Silo became something more serious. Critics called it a masterclass in how to follow a successful first season. Comparisons to Lost started appearing. Not in a dismissive way, but in the sense of a show that's clearly playing a long, deliberate, carefully constructed game. Seasons 3 and 4 are both confirmed. Whatever is underneath that silo, we're going to find out. Number 3. Slow Horses.
The Slow Horses. Not typical MI5.
I need to talk about Jackson Lamb. Gary Oldman plays Lamb as the head of Slough House, the MI5 department where disgraced agents get sent when firing them would be worse for optics than just letting them rot behind paperwork. The failures, the embarrassments, the ones who made the wrong call at the wrong moment. Nobody expects anything from any of them. And then, repeatedly, across 5 seasons, they matter anyway. What sets Slow Horses apart from every other espionage show is that the villains aren't cartoon masterminds. They're careerists and bureaucrats who've convinced themselves that what they're doing is necessary. That specificity is what makes the stakes feel real, rather than performed. 5 seasons. Whew, every one tighter than you'd expect. Every one finding a new angle without repeating itself. If you haven't started this yet, you have a genuinely wonderful amount of television ahead of you. I'm mildly jealous.
You knew that was going to happen, didn't you?
Yeah.
Number 2. Severance.
Hello, my name is Mark S. And I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure known as severance.
Work-life balance is the thing everyone talks about and nobody actually has. Severance imagines a company that solved it. Through a surgical procedure that splits your consciousness in 2. Your innie exists only inside the office. Your outie goes home with no memory of a single workday. They are, for all practical purposes, different people. Neither of them consented for the other. Adam Scott plays Mark Scout, an employee at Lumen Industries who begins noticing things in the sterile hallways and Baroque rituals of his department that don't quite add up. What this show does better than almost any other is use science fiction not as spectacle, but as a scalpel, cutting straight into the indignities of modern work, the way corporations occupy your psychology even when you're home, the question of what you actually own of yourself when so much of your waking life belongs to someone else. Season 1 was a phenomenon. Season 2 arrived after a nearly 3-year wait and pushed everything further. Stranger, more emotionally devastating, more formally ambitious, with Gwendolyn Christie and Merritt Weaver joining a cast that was already exceptional. 2 seasons, no weak episodes. A show that makes the sterile somehow terrifying and the bizarre somehow deeply human. If you haven't started yet, clear your weekend. This one takes you somewhere you won't want to leave. Number 1. Ted Lasso.
I think that's what it's all about, embracing change.
Same thing!
Being brave.
An American college football coach with zero knowledge of soccer gets hired to manage an English Premier League club by an owner who secretly wants the team to fail. That's it. That's the pitch. And somehow, across 3 seasons and an avalanche of awards, Ted Lasso became one of the most genuinely beloved shows in the history of television. Not because it's perfect, not because it's flashy, but because it made a serious argument, in the middle of a comedy, in the middle of a sports show, that kindness practiced with actual conviction is not naive. It's the hardest thing there is. Season 1 became the most Emmy-nominated debut season for a comedy in television history. The reason it works is that Ted Lasso is not a show about football. It's a show about a man who decided, at some point, to be genuinely decent, and what happens to the people around him when they encounter that for the first time. Season 4 arrives in summer 2026, with Ted coaching a second division women's team. A risky move. A completely on-brand move. The kind of move only a show that knows exactly who it is would make. 3 seasons. No bad episodes. And counting. That's the end of our today's video, 7 shows. All of them still running. All of them consistent in a way that the rest of television should be embarrassed by. If you're new to any of these, Slow Horses and Severance are the 2 to start with if you want to understand what Apple is doing differently. Ted Lasso is the one to watch if you need to feel something. Trying is the one to watch if you need to feel something, but you also need to laugh. Drop a comment with which one you think is the most criminally underrated. My answer is Trying, but I have a feeling the comments section is going to be mostly Slow Horses. Like the video if this helped. Subscribe if you want more lists like this. Now go watch something that won't let you down.